Hello, people of the internet. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We at Pantsless Tables are only glad to have you here and join in on the chaos that will unfold. Uh, Joining me for our first game of a long form Blades in the Dark campaign is my set of wonderful players, and we will go into a quick little introduction of the players themselves. Uh, let the people of the internet know whatever name you want to be addressed by, where they can find you on the internet, and a quick description of your. Actually, let's not go into the quick description of the character. Just the players for now. Let's go. Throwing the ball.
Hi,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
Gilly. You can find me at Olikid's Gilly most places on the internet. My pronouns are she, her. That's it. Bard, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bart. You may also know me as Laura. You can find me anywhere on the internet as the Bart with many names. I'm a German screenwriter, writer, voice actor, the whole thespian stuff. And yeah,
The ball is thrown.
it's a boy. Who's want to catch the ball?
Who's your good boy? Who's your good boy?
What a start.
We gotta stay on brand.
Yeah. Let's. I'm going to throw the ball at people now. Let's go. Akhila, you're up.
So hi, I'm Akila, and I'm from India. I'm a complete newbie here. I'm not sure if I would want anybody to find me. So you want to actually find me? Come here and watch this.
Best pitch. Best pitch. I like it. Next, Adam. Oh, whoa. Am I the only one who can't hear Adam?
Oh wait, sorry, my mic was muted over here. Actually, yeah, audio, right? I'm Adam Yee. I'm an experienced GM, and I've played Blades in the Dark before, so I think I might be the only one who's played Blades in the Dark fully here. It's fine. And you can find my Blue Sky at It's Me Adam Yee. I have my own RPG game, and just trying to figure out Blue Sky myself.
Let's go. Next up, Lillith.
Hi, I'm Lillith, or Lillith Wild. I am German, living in Canada, and this is my first time playing Blades in the Dark. I'm very excited to do so. I've been playing TTRPGs for several years now, and I'm very AUDHD. You might notice my attention span wandering. You can find me on Blue Sky at Claire Ridgewood, because that is my writing name, and I am too millennial to have multiple accounts. And I'm also the Lillith Wild on Instagram.
Let's go. And last but certainly not least, at least today, let's go. Andrew.
Yeah, I'm Andrew. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me pretty much everywhere. Ace Who's a GM. I do all kinds of stuff, world building, other shows. So that's me.
Let's go. We do have another player who is unfortunately not able to join today because of IRL, real life, right? Frickin' hell. But that is our beautiful gathering of people for this version of the table. Murky Days in Duskwall. And I think that would be a good time, since all of the plugs are done. Let us dive into the Murky Days. It is a beautiful, clear night. Well, there's not too much difference between day or night, because 1,000 years ago in this world, the sun imploded in on itself, and now only burning, smoldering embers remain in place, plunged into an eternal night in a world where the moon seems to be growing closer every day. The waters of the world have changed into ink black. Most things in it died, replaced by massive leviathans that course the waters. And oh, did I forget to mention that the gates of the dead opened as well? Yeah, they did, and all of the undead in the ground rose up. Anything that any human that dies will cause a ghost, and you are in a city that is rising out of this. Duskwall, the capital city of Akros on the Shattered Islands, it is a coastal city, and rising out of the smog, protected by walls of lightning that keep the undead hordes at bay, we enter into a city that has been built on top of itself for the last 1,000 years. Every inch of it is claimed and owned, and anything that you will be acquiring or looking to get will be fought for tooth, nail, and claw, or other ways. The city expands. It's not extremely massive. It's mostly built on top of itself. But from the sprawling estates of White Crown all the way to the poorer side, the labor camps of Dunslow, Duskwall is a monument to avarice, to control, and a whole bunch of factions at play. This game will be pursuing one new faction as a new group of rogues, villains, and scum. And no, I'm not going to say scum. We haven't proven ourselves to be scum just yet. But the Veiled, a new group of shadows, has joined and will begin their hunt for prosperity, for fortune, luck, vice, whatever it is that gets your fancy and makes you sleep at night. As the camera pans down through the mist that rises from the waters, I think we will start going into a quick little description of our characters, where they find themselves before they head out to their lair in the night market. So I think we will start off with, say, at least on my screen, yes, yeah. Laureline Mordaunt, where would you find you?
You would probably find Laureline along any kind of things for Scotland refugees, something like either soup kitchens, or if there's anywhere to help provide clothing or warmth to any kind of people who have survived the war. If you focus in on Laureline, she has she wears an eye patch over her left eye. You can clearly see there's scarring going on from a war injury. And she still wears a very thick wool grey coat that is from former military. And she bears herself with the same kind of bearing you'd expect from a former soldier.
Interesting. So I would say that the refugee camps would be in Dunslow, the least tended to of the districts of Duskwall. It is kind of sketchy. Like, the refugee camps are not given too much importance. There's certainly a lack of warmth. Clothing. The walls of the shacks themselves are thin and without any padding or insulation. you are confronted with the reality of every Skovland refugee that has made their way to Duskwall after the war and maybe during the war. You are surrounded by your people and your obligation to them. But this is the start of something new and something that you have chosen as a path to acquire more for your people. So you will be heading out of Dunslow. You probably, I'd say, like there'd be a little kid that would bump into your legs and just look up and just look at you as you are in your greatcoat and finery. And I'm sorry. And immediately kind of starts backing away.
Don't. It's. I have that impression, don't I?
And immediately runs off. You know it is time, and the veiled are gathering. So I think that would be a cue to leave Dunslow and make your way to the night market where your new crew were gathering. And thus you leave into the mist. And the camera pans away to the next person. Yeah, Fable, Drisk. Where would we find you?
I mean, would you find me though?
Good question. Good question.
I think Fable is where I think Fable is probably like in the cinematic version of this, it's like a crowd of people who are moving on the streets, right? And everybody blends in and you're not really sure who you're supposed to be looking at, which is kind of the point. So Fable has her hood up and you can see little wisps of like white blonde hair poking out of the various like holes in the knit of the hood. But she is kind of moving with the crowd and just watching. And I don't know if this is like maybe a marketplace or something. I don't know where specifically this would be, but I think it's kind of like the most populated place because that's where the most information, like the most leads will probably populate themselves with time. So she's just listening. Sorry, that is the loudest typing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Somebody's taking notes with a passion.
I respect the game, honestly. I have like the quiet clicky clacky keyboard, so I don't have that satisfaction of just like anyway. So they exactly furious typing. It's like me. I visualize myself as the cat who's typing on a keyboard like this. This is my vibe. But anyway, Fable is kind of trying to blend in plain sight. Is basically the idea. And I think it's kind of a double-edged sword because as soon as she gets noticed, that is sort of in essence a failure to her, and so she has to kind of relocate and go to a different location. But excuse me, I'm in fact allergic to outside. But I think that whenever a conversation pops up, her manner shifts immediately to something completely different.
The general, the mass of people that usually finds itself in Crowsfoot, a cramped neighborhood of multi-level streets ruled by gangs. I think that would be where we would find Fable hanging out. There's a whole bunch of conversations and hurried people going out about their very busy lives, because this is where this is where the people who actually do most of the work live. The rich people don't do as much, and they have much more time. But the people of Crowsfoot have shit to get done and people to look after. The only thing that I would say that you would catch is a newsboy who is hanging around near one of the sparklight lanterns, and he is holding a bunch of papers, and he's just calling out that the Sparklights have declared that there is a lack of electroplasm. Leviathans are not getting haunted. Read up all about it. 10p.
I think she tosses a coin and gets a newspaper.
The boy immediately, thank you, and passes you a paper. It essentially goes into a small little, there are multiple things that are in it, but the main headline is that Sparklights declare shortage. And apparently there seems to be less electroplasm to power the various technologies that surround the world, that surround Duskwall. And there appears to be notes about rationing of energy that will continue, or that will start soon. And
So-
you do see that most of these power cuts, as it is, will mostly take place in the poorer districts and leaving the richer ones.
So Fable reads this, and once she's finished reading, she as they're passing, she tucks the newspaper in someone's bag as they're just walking by. Recycling.
All right. With that bit of information, you look to one of the clocks that are on the street, and you see that it is time for you to head to the night market, to a particular location that you have all agreed to meet at. And I think a person steps in front of the camera, and once they take the next step, Fable is no longer there. All right. Next up, yeah. Sasha Novak, where would we find Summer? You're muted.
Classic. I believe you would find Sasha at home. And it's peculiar for someone like Sasha to actually have a home, but they have a home. It's a small, kind of attic room in somewhere above a counter or something, a room that nobody really uses, and they pay a tiny bit of money to have a home. And in the city, with all the fog and the stench and everything, nobody has a window open if they can avoid it. But Sasha's window is open, and the slight breeze that comes in plays with a lot of pieces of differently colored sea glass that hang in front of the window, kind of like a wind chime. And the last dying embers of the sun still actually cast a tiny bit of color into this small room that is just filled and filled with dried flowers. And in one corner, it's not really a desk. It's a crate. Let's be honest, it's a crate. But it could be a desk with a bit of imagination. Sits Summer, a young man, woman, something in between, short, like a bit short, like hair, comfy clothes, sitting just there and writing. And on one side, there's a pack of letters, and Sasha is just sitting there answering them all.
Okay. What are these letters? Who is writing to you? Who are you writing to?
Depends. Some of them are just people who need somebody to talk to, who really just feel lonely. And maybe Sasha talked to them once or twice, and then they started to exchange letters. Some are friends from old jobs. Some might even be former customers of his. And some of them are just people who know things that might be useful.
As a spider, that sounds like a spidery thing to do. Well, as you are finishing up the letter, you do hear the bells that ring, and you know it is time. The night has begun, and it is time for a different stage. It is time to head to the night market and gather with your crew. So I would say that, you close your pen, get up, take a look around, and leave. Right. Aquila, where would we find Liliana Voidrage?
So we found it where she's with her hellhound, and seen because she's always around with hellhound, and seeing a ridiculously huge, dark as the night black hound with 3 heads and fire dripping down its lips, isn't something that people normally enjoy, but to Liliana, the hellhound is her baby, and she loves spending time with the dog and teaching it new tricks, and just cuddling with it.
So, given that there are very few forests in Duskwall itself, and the places where they would be, gardens and trees and remnants of an older world, would all be in the parks of Brightstone and Whitecrown, which would not be really welcoming for your hellhound. I'd say you are playing around in the radiant energy farms of Dunslow, massive fields that have very interesting little poles that have shining energy that basks all of the growth around it, allowing the people of Duskwall to eat. There is there are people, but it is kind of late, and no one really stays in the farms more than they need to, because it is very close to the lightning walls, and no one really feels too comfortable. But there is a distant ringing of a bell, which does call and remind you that you are gathering with your new crew. So, with the last whistle to summon the playing, what is your hellhound called, by the way?
Umbra. It's called Umbra.
Right.
UMBRA.
Right. So, with the last whistle to summon Umbra from where Umbra is playing with the carcass of a unlucky rabbit that stumbled into Umbra's path. You call off and head off to the night market. It's going to be particularly interesting because anybody that sees you will first kind of just go, whoa, and kind of try and stay the hell away from your hellhound. But as a person of Tychrosi blood, your horns itself let them know that the other. They do step out of your way, and in fact, you would have a gondola entirely to yourself to travel to the night market. But yeah, that is Miss Whiteridge, and we shall go to our next person. And as the camera pans, Alfred Ahn, where would we find you?
Alfred is probably sort of decompressing and taking his sort of disguise off from whatever the thing he was doing last is, and kind of getting back into his normal suits and finery to go, because he knows it's close to time, and so he was probably in White Crown, moving around pretending to be someone else just to see what was happening. And now he's sort of decompressing and taking off the disguise and getting back into Alfred to, go to this meeting.
All right. Okay. White Crown. Very far away, and the richest and most prosperous district of Duskwol. It'll take you a while to get to the night market, but with your finery and obvious wealth, I'd say it would be a very quick job for you to get a gondola, and you start making your way. All right, and to do as the camera pans away and moves off. Embardo Lizardon, where would we see you?
Bardo's in the shadows. He has a cloak on, and all you can really see all the camera can see are these lizard-like eyes peering in the distance, looking at a paper. And on that paper is a roughly drawn, almost like a childlike schematic of a dragon, of a lizard with wings, as he has little points that says wings, horns, teeth, feet, tail, and they all have various budgets on them. They have all various amounts of cash that he is stressing over as he looks at this paper. It's like, how am I going to afford this? How am I... I can't believe I had to do these heists that stealing wrong. I don't know. Oh boy. I'm kind of nervous. It's my first heist. As he kind of speaks to himself into the shadows, and he just looks around like, okay, oh shoot, I'm late. As he rushes to the night market.
All right. Perfect. All of you have known that it is the time to gather, and gather you do. As the camera switches over to the night market, the trade center for exotic goods imported by the rail, and many vendors who also trade in more illicit goods. The streets of the night market are very utilitarian, very set, and not as dirty, because it is the location of Gaddock rail station, where electro rail trains from across the Imperium arrive almost daily with goods and passengers. Duskwall wants to have a good first impression on first visitors before they reveal the truth of the city itself. But yeah, there are shops, there are markets and little bazaars that spread across the roads and streets of Night Market. But in one particular dusty, little bit of a dusty road, forgotten back alley, is once lies a place that was once sparked with light and laughter, an old variety theater that is sunken into the ground with a very broken and rusty sign that says "The Painted Mask." You all find yourselves inside this area. Old velvet curtains hang from the ceiling, dust everywhere. A few mirrors that are there are cracked, and the wooden beams groan under the weight of time. And damp stone and a lot of other smells enter your picture as well. This was once a very lively place, but ignored in the march of progress as entertainment turned its place of play to other districts. You are all collected within the Painted Mask, your chosen lair, which is both secure and hidden, as you have had some interactions with the factions of Duskwall to assemble your crew. But this is the first time I think all of you would find yourselves at the Painted Mask together. And thus, the beginning of the Veiled starts now. I'd say that you all kind of arrive at different times, and but yeah, we will go with it. I'm going to throw the ball at you all as you collect within the Painted Mask itself.
I think Summer would be first.
Right?
Because Summer hates being late, so he always arrives a bit too early. Not on the brisk of it being impolite, but on the brisk of no, I wasn't waiting at all. And you would find them just probably sitting on the stage, looking around. We really, really need to do something with this place.
Who would step up next?
I'm not actually sure how far away the theater would be from the refugee camps, so I'm not sure how long that would take.
It would take you, it's not too far off. It's just like a district away. So I'd say about half an hour, probably.
Okay. I don't know if somebody else wants to go next.
You have volunteered.
Okay, there we go. So, before Laureline walks in, there's actually a little ermine, pure white ermine that comes hopping down the steps to the theatre and seems to sniff out the environment and gives a curious look to Summer, slight tilt of the head, twitch of the nose, and soon after follows Laureline, and she comes in with the dark, heavy coat swishing as she walks, and the ermine, she gives it a little, and it comes right back to her, and it climbs up into the neck of her coat, just poking out here. And she looks around and goes, I'm rarely ever this early.
I like your little friend.
Thank you. Her name is Iris.
Iris.
Mm-hmm.
Does the attitude fit the name?
I guess that's for you to be seen.
Who joins them? I mean, like, I can point fingers.
I mean, here's the thing. It's hard for me to say joins because I think that, like, you don't know exactly when Fable got there because all of a sudden Fable is there and it's like, were they there the whole time or did they just come in, right? I think Fable is sitting in the back row of the house.
Yeah, right. Okay.
With her feet up on the chairs in front of her, like I scream at students for all the time. Manners. But I think Fable just doesn't say anything and just raises an eyebrow at Summer if and when they make eye contact.
Yeah.
And if Eris comes over, then Fable will outstretch a hand in offering for sniffs.
Yep. So, Eris is probably going to come towards and do the little thing where they get on the hind legs for the sniffs. And again, you get the curious little head tilt. And then it comes right back to Lorelai.
Oh, we're gonna be friends.
All right. Who is next? I'm going to start pointing fingers now. Okay. Let's go. Alfred.
Well, yeah, I suppose Alfred can show up. I would imagine he would be the last person here, but
No, I mean,
here he is.
fair enough. Like, Leighton style is fashion. So let's go. You're going to be last. So then the next person who's going to be thrown to the head block of introductions would be Akila. How would Liliana Voidrage enter the stage? You're muted. Oh. Can anyone else hear them?
You are muted, my friend. Unmute yourself. There we go.
All right.
Quick question: do we? Because I couldn't hear you on the stream right now.
Oh.
Is this just a me problem?
Yeah,
we could hear. I could
No,
hear.
well, hang on. Steve is in the chat and is saying that he cannot hear you.
Oh,
So we may need to pause for technical difficulties.
oh no. Oh no.
A few moments later.
That is
We will be back after a short break.
No, refresh.
Don't
Okay,
touch that
can you
remote.
So can you refresh your video page? It should just pop you back in if you hit refresh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
just you.
let's
Just hit
see.
refresh. Do.
I will add that when the three-headed dog walks in, Eris probably disappears inside the coat, not to be seen again for a little bit.
I feel like I'm scratching the chin of Eris when this happens, and it's like someone has had their favorite toy taken away. It's just like indignation.
Oh,
Maya, could you talk a little bit so we can do a little check?
I can hear.
Not on the stream.
oh.
I'm
What?
sorry. I'm laughing through the pain. Is what I'm.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, what is a pantsless table stream without some technical difficulties, right?
Technical difficulty.
I'm sorry, Steve. I'm sorry. Don't cancel the game.
Entry was me not mentioning my favorite Shakespeare play, just in case.
No, we can't. I'm not superstitious. I am suspicious. I'm not superstitious, but let's not invite more. Okay.
Let's just call it the Scottish play.
Yeah.
And it is a cursed production.
Do.
All right. So Embardo busts into the bar. Is the bar crowded or is it just them four?
It's not a bar. It's your lair, which is the painted mask. So it is an empty auditorium with rows of seats that are pointed towards the stage. Most of it is in darkness. There are very few lamps up, but the low pool of light does illuminate the four of your fellow crew members.
All right. Embardo kind of just walks kind of shyly up. He's like, "Is this the place? Hello?"
Depends on what place you're looking for.
Is this the Veiled?
It's a place. Yes.
It is a place. Is this the place where we do heists?
You may want to talk about it a little quieter.
Oh, okay. Is this the place we do heists?
Well, the heists don't happen. The heists are elsewhere. The heists are elsewhere.
Oh,
and then But yes, you are in the correct place.
Okay,
it's a place to plan and strategize.
Plan and strategize. Okay, good. Yeah. Sorry. So this is like my first heist, so I'm a little nervous.
I can tell.
Yeah. Well, can I like sit down? Maybe in the auditorium there, or is there like a
Fable gestures to like the hundreds of seats available.
Okay. All right. I'll just sit in the back over here and listen in. You see Embardo just scurry onto the back, really lost about what to understand about this type of thing. He's heard about Duskvol's many scoundrels, but he's never actually done anything this dangerous. And his risk tolerance is very low as he sneaks into the back, into a corner.
I wonder if our friend needs some liquid courage.
I'm not sure if we're supposed to drink before the heist. I believe that's something to keep until after.
Whose rule is that specifically?
Mine personally. You are welcome to do whatever you want. If you mess up because of it, I will lecture you about it.
Okay.
Only fair.
I think Fable pulls out a flask and holds it up in cheers to summer.
And it is on this gathering that the last of our party walks in. Alfred.
I think Alfred like walks in like a uber rushed pace, like he's like been running to get here. He's like, "Am I late? I apologize. I was all the way in White Crown. This is so far away. Oh, is everyone here? Am I last?"
So,
It's
like
okay.
nobility, always fashionably late.
I mean, yes, but not for that reason.
It's fine. I came from Silkshore too. It's quite a bit, right? There are a lot of people on the streets today.
Yes.
I mean, it is a nice day relatively, so I guess.
There have been, as you all did make your way to the night market, there were not too many clouds in the sky tonight. Fairly open, and the large full moon is shining right down on all of you. As the veiled have gathered together, and you are now in your lair, you have done some work to set up the lair, and you have talked to a few factions to get the things that you wanted, and pay off some little bit in the night market itself. But yeah, the crew is gathered, and so we can go into it because like a lot of you have not played Blades in the Dark, so we can go straight into like gathering information on the first score that you want to do, and there might be different options depending on your different contacts and like the way you go around talking about things and seeing what might come up. So do we want to go that into a very mechanical thing of just like, hey, so we do this and like you can do that, or do we go about this in role play where you guys discuss like what you guys want to do, and then like pool your resources and contacts together, and then go about it and separate or go together? I'll leave it up to you. What do you guys want to do?
Maybe a mix of both.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a few that have a bit of experience with the game system.
Yeah, so we'll when we get to the actual information thing, sure. So essentially what we would be doing at this point is that you all would have to go out and like either talk to some of your contacts that you may have, figure out like what jobs are going around, what's the scuttlebutt, what is the goss, where are fingers pointing, and what could be something that could qualify as the Wales' first score.
I mean, Summer has a lot of contacts in the middle to higher society because most of their clients are from that part. And since I've been writing letters, did I get some gossip, like something, a new luxury item that is the have to be to, like, oh, you gotta have this new perfume or something like that.
I mean,
Something
yeah.
that
So
you
that would be how we'd go about it. So what my question is, do you want to do that like through like role play, or do you want to go just like oh, I've done this, like this thing? So like essentially tell me how do you go about doing this. So would you go back to your letters to like or like think back to them? Would you go to a place that you would know, like, because from what I remember, one of your friends is an information broker. So, you could go to them.
Yeah,
There
but
are options.
Summer doesn't really meet with people for their second job because some people might recognize their face. So basically,
Okay.
it's all letters.
All right. That could be done. All right. What about the rest of you? Like, as you all convene and start talking,
Fable, I think, will bring up, not in terms of this is like a thing that I think we can do something about, but will bring up the shortage that is happening, because it could be relevant if times start to get tough. Then there's going to be an increase in the demand for energy, right, for the electricity. And so she's kind of wondering, not necessarily if we can get in on that, but like how we can weather that when it occurs. Also, Fable does have a lot of contacts, so I guess Fable switches into like business mode, which is like, I think sits up straighter and says, so I think what we should do is talk about goals, synergy. I think if we have synergy in our goals and we look at this with an open mind, we can think about what we want to achieve.
You feel like you owned an enterprise in a previous life.
What makes you think it was a previous life?
Fair.
The thing about the electricity might be a good starting point, because either we try to break in to some shops and borrow for a longer period of time what we might find in terms of plasma that's left, or maybe some goods that don't need electricity to work, like something that that gives still quite a level of comfort without having to go too far.
Well,
Or
I think the areas that are going to be having blackouts are certainly going to be the ones that are less rich, affluent, right?
yeah, so plasma will sell great over there, and in the shops there will be more than enough.
I would appreciate if we could assist or make sure the refugee camps are as little affected as possible. They have enough going on already.
Clarification for the GM. We heard that there was a haunting in the fields where it's harder to get electricity. Is that correct?
a haunting in the fields? No. So essentially,
Less haunting is the problem.
Yeah, it would essentially be a situation where there is a shortage of electroplasm because the leviathan hunters have not found too much prey as of late. So
They just started hunting.
there is a large shortage of electroplasm, and since the primary need for electroplasm is to power the lightning walls that surround the city, there are going to be essentially power cuts for some portions of the city.
So basically the whale hunters can't get any more, not oil, but you know what I mean.
Leviathan blood.
Leviathan blood, yeah.
Leviathan blood. So yeah, Ibardo is interested in this because he needs energy for his inventions, and I think we'll bring up. Well, what if we go straight to the source? What if we try to understand why there ain't no leviathans, and then we I don't know, figure out a way to get that information.
Maybe
Can
we
you?
after you.
Go ahead. No, you.
All right. Maybe we could also find out if that's even true, because I wouldn't put it above some people to create a
Artificial scarcity.
A lie?
Scarcity, yeah.
I mean, the city is stable for the most part, but if you poke a hornet's nest long enough, I mean, we know how the blue coats are. We mess with them quite a lot.
I look over at our hellhound friend. Can you smell ghosts?
Can he talk?
I don't know. Fable doesn't know, but is willing to find out.
Well, I can't, but Umbra can.
Oh, you can smell ghosts. I think Fable is a little more hesitant this time, but kind of offers a handout to be sniffed.
Oh, they seem to like you. All three of the heads are looking at you in the most friendly way possible, so I'm pretty sure Umbra likes you.
We are also going to be friends.
Oh, yes, you are.
Ah, such a good boy. I'm sorry. I have a soft spot for animals.
Loreline stays away a little nervously, not because she's afraid of the dog, but she's afraid of what the dog might do to Eris. So
There's just like a little scrabbling that comes from your fur collar, as like, yeah.
Well, he's Umbra is just so excited he doesn't know his own size, and he's just wagging his tail around like he's a little puppy, without realizing that his tail is giving whiplashes to the people around.
Ouch,
So,
ouch,
Yeah,
ouch.
this
so it's a
this
smart move that a couple of you are standing behind.
Umbra
That Umbra
Umbra
means no
is
harm.
Umbra is, by the way, like the size of an Irish wolfhound. Is about
Yeah.
he's about 4 feet like tall, and like I think at that point, with the friend comment, Umbra would do a little hop and put his paws on your shoulder, Fable, and suddenly you're looking up at the three heads that are and there's like a very, it's a synchronous licking that happens. There's a 1 2 and then from the middle,
I think you just hear Fable muffled go, best friends.
3 different distinct barks. But yeah.
with
I
every
only
bark,
have 2 hands.
with every bark, there's a twitch inside inside Loreline's collar. It's like it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
You and Eris are going to have to make friends, okay? You can't eat Eris. May look like a snack, not a snack.
That's for all of us.
Yeah.
Eris.
Loreline?
So she's. I start calling out Eris, like Eris, come say hello. Come. And then when you pick up a cat that doesn't want to be picked up, they do the sort of like. So Eris has a bit of that moment going on, but I take Eris out of the coat and go like. I give massive side eye to the dog and go like, "You will play nice, right?"
I think Umbra would kind of step up, and there would be all 3 heads would take turns to kind of sniff, and then just sit down on his haunches and just go. All heads cocked to one side.
Eris does the same, but the head cock is the opposite direction.
That works.
So this is so nice. Cat energy and dog energy.
Loreline?
Yes.
You said it was important to you that the refugee camps kept their energy.
They're already very much lacking in resources, and I would appreciate if they didn't have more cuts forced upon them already.
Well, if we want to collect information about this whole thing first, it would be helpful, but also I wouldn't be above just stealing for the refugee camp.
Very much like you.
There are people who need something.
I appreciate that you can see that.
All right. Would there be any input from the slide at this point? Sorry, you're still muted.
There we go. I don't know. The button wasn't clicking. It was very weird. I think Alfred just takes in all the information, and I think he'll add that it doesn't seem that the people in White Crown are out of energy or resources from his momentary trip there. So that may be a place to look into finding the energy. But also, I think Alfred will mention that Leviathan hunters are, a people that we can go seek out and see what's going on with them. But yeah, that's me.
All right.
That's what bad.
So is the group consensus to go and find out more about the electroplasm shortage and associated problems or opportunities that may present themselves?
I mean, when there's a shortage, the probability that a lot of people are looking into it is quite high. So we won't be spotted as easily as if we just was in somewhere and start taking stuff.
It's great when that happens, because if everybody is talking about it, then
Nobody notices
the
here.
thing that is noticeable is if you're not talking about it. So this is the perfect time.
Fair enough. So now this is the point where we start gathering information. Essentially, you would have to, go out and look into areas where, you think you might find information, and you can talk to your shady friends. You can, do general kind of consorting and listening in on some places. There are many ways to kind of gather information, but from your sheets, you can see that you would have shady friends, and you also have, as a crew contact as well, you have Fitz, who is a collector of different things. So now my question is to you as characters, as either, beginning into a world of crime and larceny, or already having been there for some time. How would you go about trying to find information about this? There are numerous factions that are at play, and this is a problem that would potentially be pan city at some point, not just a few districts. So it depends on you. How would you like to go about doing this? Would you want to, use a contact? Would you want to, use up a favor? Do you want to bribe someone for information? This is an entirely it's not as much about mechanics at this point, but more about what you guys would want to do as characters in this world.
I think Fable wants to find out where, because anything that there is going to be scarcity for, rich people are going to start hoarding, right? And I want to know the people who are storing. I want to know where they are storing, because there is someone who is responsible for keeping that power and I want to find out where it is. I don't have a contact that is specifically like geared to that,
Mhm.
but that is Fable's idea.
All right. So that would be how Fable would want to approach it. How about the others?
So I have my spy contact Valeris, who is someone I think might come in useful, being a spy, among other things. He has eyes and ears in places that I do not. So my way to contact Valeris is that I send out Eris, and we have a specific meeting spot. It's an inconspicuous corner that nobody would suspect that people are talking about anything other than the weather.
All right. Okay. Excellent. Now, this also brings in an element of the game that is quite important. I don't do all the world building. The world building is also incumbent on your choices as players. So, like as Lilith did so with her character's contact, like, hey, like you preempted me in like, where would we find your friend? Like, how would be so excellent, fantastic job there. So that would be Loreline's path of information gathering. Uh, Sasha or Summer, how would Summer go about it?
Well, the first thing that Summer would think about is about the letters they just answered. If there was something about that, because Summer's always there for people, and sometimes they just empty out their heart. If somebody was like, "Oh no, I'm so afraid because of this," or someone was like, "My dad is starting a big new thing, and I don't know what's going on, but it's so stressful. He's stressed all the time, and he's mean to me." Stuff like that.
All right, all right. Um, and Alfred, how would your information gathering go? How do you think you'd want to acquire information on the current situation?
So Alfred has a contact that's a tavern owner,
Mm.
and this is his normal method of trying to learn things and figure stuff out. Because everyone goes for a drink and says what they really mean, and I think he'll go and sit in the tavern and chat with his friend who's the tavern owner and just kind of listen to people around and see what they're talking about.
All right, perfect, perfect. How would Embardo go about helping in this endeavor?
Bartle wants to prowl the docks and see what's happening with the leviathan hunters.
Okay, okay. That would be a good reconnaissance to go into. All right. And Liliana, how would you and Umbra contribute to this?
Well, besides the fact that Liliana does send Umbra around to gather information for her, she also has an assassin as a friend that she meets on the sly every night, and she gathers information from this assassin. And the funny thing is, they uh, they still don't know each other's names. So the assassin doesn't know who Liliana is. I mean, he knows what she looks like, but he doesn't know what she is and what she's called, and vice versa. But they're quite good at helping each other out and exchanging information. So yeah, her two sources of information would be, one is obviously Umbra, where he goes around, scouts around for whatever information is needed and whatever threats are around. And besides that, there is the assassin who also gives the inside info that is normally more difficult to get.
Uh, This would be an interesting moment actually, because would you mention the name of your assassin friend?
I would if I knew it, but like I said, we know what we both look like, but we don't know what to call each other because, we do help each other around when it is needed and we talk the bare minimum, but we've not given each other any personal information as such, so we don't know much about either one of us.
I would say that, like, since you are saying that, at the minimum, this assassin friend of yours would know you as Shadow Huntress, your
Oh yeah,
alias,
that much
right?
he
Yeah.
that much he knows.
And the name that you have been given from their side would be Steiner,
Right.
right? So, and now this is an interesting kind of thing, because I wanted to mention is because in Blades in the Dark, you have a separation. It's all about narrative points, right? Where you can choose to kind of bring in different things. But this is an interesting point, because one of our hounds has a friend in Steiner the Assassin, and the other hound considers Steiner a rival. So would you have brought up the name Steiner in
I
discussion?
wouldn't have.
You
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
have.
have.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So yeah, uh, let's start with. Actually, since it is about 11:30, and since we have to kind of close in half an hour, is anyone wanting to take a small 5-minute break? Because I would not mind a small little 5-minute break before we continue on to the information gathering. Is that everyone fine with that?
I
Yeah.
would appreciate the break so I can get a sweater. It is freezing.
Perfect. Perfect. So we shall step off for a bit, and we shall be back in about 5, and then we shall continue on with the gathering of information. And yeah, all right. So catch you guys in 5. Oh, and we are offline. We are going to jump into the information gathering that the crew wants to indulge in before deciding their next step. Let's start with I think this is going to be an interesting moment. Embardo, as you head to the docks, uh, the docks are a massive area, and a lot of dry docks and construction, and the massive leviathan hunter ships with their cranes and nets, uh, and the dockers as well, the hard-bitten labor force that is the backbone of this center of trade and utility. How would Embardo want to go about this? Like, what do you think Embardo would do to engage in this? Because you are not too familiar with the area, given that you are a Tychrosi who has only recently come to the city, right? From what I remember.
Mhm.
So you're not too familiar with the docks. How would you go about it?
He would just find the shadows and hide like near the canisters and everything. I think what he wants to really see is, are they lying about this whole crisis or are they telling the truth? So
Hmm.
he would just peer and just see what the workers are doing. Are they lying around? Are they waiting for work? Or are they actually busy?
So that sounds like a survey, is right?
So
Is
I'm gonna argue prowl for this
okay.
because
Prowl
he's
and go
sneaking
about it.
around.
All right, sure. You know what? Give me a prowl roll. The effect, I would say, is this would be kind of regular, but yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Should I do this yet? What if I push it to desperate?
Do you want to push it?
Kind of.
So that would imply getting close to the offices
And
themselves.
closer and
Yeah.
closer.
All right. All right. I will say then that is going to be a great. Depending on what you roll, you're going to get some great information,
Great.
or some shit might happen.
Some shit
But
might-
like, let's go.
right.
Give me a prowl roll.
All right, I'm gonna roll 1d6 on Google and see what happens. I got a 5. All right.
Okay. All right. All right. I would say that as you prowl through the area and some of the offices themselves, sticking to the shadows of the lanes between the warehouses and the individual offices of each of the Leviathan Hunter fleet, because how it works is that the Leviathan Hunters are essentially sponsored by the great noble houses. So they are owned piecemeal, but the fleet operates as a whole. You get good details. You get a good amount of information. The shortage is real. And you also hear a tidbit of a conversation between two captains, which is essentially lets you know that there is a scenario that is building where a lot of the hunting grounds are turning up barren. There don't seem to be as many leviathans in the waters around, immediately close to Duskwall and Akros. They seem to be shifting elsewhere. Things are going to look bad in a while. And in one of the offices themselves, you do hear that as long as we have the surplus, we are going to be fine. As long as they're kept safe. Make sure that Rutherford makes sure. So, yeah, that is the amount of information that you get. You don't get too many more details. The workers themselves, the dockers, there seems to be a small, they have to be kept happy because they are the backbone of the docks. And you have most of them are they are busy, but you can tell that they are going through the motions in some places, right? They're not working.
Okay, so Embardo definitely hears the word surplus, which I think he finds really interesting, and he will note that in his mind.
All right. So I think Embardo would then skulk away from the docks, or what's he going? Are you going to go back to the Painted Mask?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'd say so. Hops
right.
around and just leaves.
All right, perfect. Let's go to I have to get better at remembering the names. Laureline, you wanted to have a conversation with your spy friend. Where would you find Valeris? You said there was a sunken corner that is forgotten and for casual conversation.
Yes. So I would not be the one to find Valeris. It would be Eris who goes to find him. Eris is basically my tiny little scurrying messenger. And I feel that whenever Valeris sees Eris in the corner of a room or something, he knows where to go meet Laureline. So this is our messaging system, for lack of a better term. And yes, I meet him on the corner, on the nondescript average forgotten corner?
You would see the so Steiner is essentially is a tall figure. He does come up quite nondescript in his overcoat, and he has a shock of salt and pepper in his beard, but his head is completely bald, as you know. He takes offense to it if people mention it as well. But he is a lithe chap. Seems to be very dark, scowly face, but as he is walking up to you, you can see that he is giving Eris scritches. And you are good boy. You're good boy, are you not? Yes, you are. You are. Ah, my good friend. It has been a while since we have seen. Long time, long time. Azur, how you be?
I'm doing as well as can be. Thank you, Valeris. Are you doing okay? You look like you might have lost some weight.
You do not mention. I have had nothing but eel pie for dinner all this time. I need meat, protein, this is what is required.
Well, hopefully we can score some eventually. Some protein.
You mean you have ways to get me some lamb? Oh, lamb.
Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Long time. Long time.
We'll see what we can arrange, I'm sure.
How are your people doing? Are they adjusting well?
Depends how you define adjusting. Settling might be the word.
The great overlords of the city council. And he will spit. And well, such is life in Duskwol. Things you have to take what you want.
That is why I asked to meet you. Specifically about taking what one wants. And taking what one wants, not the usual way around.
Well, go on. You know me. Steiner, always interested.
So, there is a shortage of energy. As I'm sure you know, it's going through the papers and everything. People have heard of it.
Yes, the people only know of it now. It's been going on for a while, friend. It has. It has.
Has it? Interesting.
Well, from what I've heard, this has been a problem for a little time. There does seem to be increasing difficulty for leviathan hunters to bring back the plasma. It has been coming in smaller and smaller shipments from the docks. It has been a while.
And is it an issue with the actual hunters themselves, or is there something else afoot? What have you seen?
You know, a little bird tell me that this actually might be a little serious. I don't know if it is 100% confirmed. That then I do not know yet. I do not travel in those circles, but possible. It is possible.
All right. So I was wondering if you could think of any way to liberate some of the existing energy and bring it to those who might not have as much.
You and your golden heart, it is going to kill you one day.
Hasn't yet? When the opportunities run out, we'll get there.
Sure. Don't say I didn't tell you. Well,
if I'm dead, I can't complain.
Point. I will ask around. It might cost me a few favors here and there, but I will get the word back to you.
I appreciate, and I will try to find you for payment. Limb protein.
Celeris will kind of, he will give Eris a last little scritch, and there you go, little boy, good boy. And he jumps over to you, and he will, well, as much as I would like to do this for free, perhaps, you could you could owe me a favor for this as well.
Happy to owe a favor to a friend.
Pleasure being friends with some smart businesswoman. And he will tip his hat, and he will start walking off, whistling an old tune as he goes off into the mist.
I wait before he's out of sight, and then I turn on my heel and go back the way I came as well.
All right. Gilly, how did you say you wanted to go about this?
I want to find out where the rich people are planning or already storing their energy. Because there must be, like, if they're gonna hoard it, and they're gonna hoard it in some way, there must be like an organization or a group that is responsible for storing it, or at least like keeping track, right? So I don't know if there's like a lawyer or a storage facility or you get where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah,
Like I'm trying to find out where that's happening. So if we're gonna heist, where we're gonna heist from is essentially the path I'm taking.
So I think there are a couple of ways you could go about this. There is you could go and inquire with the dockers, try and get an errant word there, a whisper here. You could talk to the Leviathan hunters themselves, or you could prowl around, you could prowl around White Crown and the governor's stronghold. These are the rich places. You never know. They might be hoarding it right there. So I'll say, I'll give you a choice. You have three options to kind of go for. You can go straight to the docks and talk to the people there. You could try and skulk around the Leviathan hunters' offices themselves, or you could go straight to the top to White Crown and see what's going on there. What would you like to do?
I feel like maybe this is probably the Leviathan the hunter's office is a smart choice, but no one ever accused me of being smart. So I'm gonna probably go to White Crown and pretend to be like in the market because I'm so rich.
Okay. And how would Fable want to approach this? So my question is, so now another thing in Blades in the Dark, the GM does not call for roles, right? I will give you the situation and you tell me how you want to approach it. Because as was demonstrated with Adam earlier, he described what he kind of wanted to do. And I said, wait, so does that sound like a survey role to you? But then he said he wants to do a prowl to sneak around and do it. So this is essentially another thing in Blades of the Dark. It's extremely hustle based. You make a pitch and you let me know what you want to do.
Okay, so I think this is probably consort, but I would like to make a case for can I make a case for social finesse as opposed to physical finesse?
Interesting. You know what? I go for it. I would say that the effect or the information that you gather might not be the strongest, that you could gather, but yeah.
I mean, I guess. So I roll. What do I roll by default if I don't have any ranks in that skill?
This would be a quick point for a clarification. Senpai, what do the players do if they don't have any if they have zero
I don't have
dice?
anything in consort.
Yeah, so generally how you'd want to play the game is to try to fit a skill that you have an X in. But if you don't
Yes.
have it, you would roll 2d6 and take the lowest. So it's essentially disadvantage.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So I I'm gonna go consort, and I'm just gonna. I'm rolling 2, right, and taking
Yeah.
the lower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
That's fine. I go big or go home, etc., etc. Okay, the lower one is a 3, which isn't bad.
Which is a 3. So you don't get too much information. It seems to be first of all, the fashion of a white crown is markedly different from your attire. So there is a small little bubble of avoidance where the rich people are just like, and there's just that little sneer on their face as they kind of look at you. You don't seem to get too much, but you only hear you hear a little tidbit about stocks of electroplasm, and that they are not on White Crown itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe the Leviathan offices might be a next thing, but that's a later problem.
That is a later problem because unfortunately we have reached the end of the session as far as time allowed and where our players can participate. But that is where we will call the session. The beginning of the gathering of information for your next steps has been initiated. A couple of you have gotten some things. We shall get to the others next session. But until then, until next Friday, stay in the shade and let's get dramatic. Cheers, people. We are so outros. People can give again little introductions or whatever plugs you'd like, and then we shall call the session. Let's
start.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Gilly. You can find me at Oh Look It's Gilly most places on the internet, and on alternate Fridays you can find me here in the morning Pacific. It's real exciting. I am also a freelance editor of words, and I'm currently working on a book that you can pre-order. We kickstarted for like $85,000. It is a 5e supplement called Songs for the Spellbound Sea, which is like a nautical themed book that has a lot of cool spells and different classes in it. It's real neat. And I'm excited to be working on it. You could also find me talking about learning ASL, which is a thing that I'm doing, and also Shakespeare, which I have a lot of feelings about. So find me primarily on Blue Sky, because that's where I'm trying to hang out nowadays. I will work out how to use it someday. Bard, you were next earlier. I choose you. Pikachu.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bard, also known as Laura, also known as the Bard with many names, basically everywhere on the internet. I am right now mostly doing my bachelor thesis. You can find me here on alternating Fridays. You can find me soon-ish, on Tuesdays on the Misadventures League with the second seasons of Misadventures with Magic. And I believe you will find me soon on Thursdays somewhere else, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about it. But yeah, I'm doing stuff. Next one, Adam?
Great. Hey, I'm Adam Yee. You can find me on Blue Sky at It's Me Adam Yee. It's my alter ego for specifically tabletop games. Don't search me up on the internet, please. I have a role-playing game book called Interns in the Dark, which is based off of Blades in the Dark. So if you want to check that out, that is also on itch.io. And it was fun playing this game. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Let's continue the trend. You throw it to who's next.
Let's go with De Souza.
Muted.
Yeah, I got you. Hi, I'm Andrew. You can find me everywhere at Ace Who's the GM. You can also find me on Melon and Mythos, a show that I am one of the hosts of. We're an all BIPOC world podcast for APOC Romantic Unlimited. That's what I do right now, other than this. Send it over. Who do we have left?
I think it's only Lillith at this point. Because
I'm sending it over to you, Lilith.
So, thanks for tuning in. I'm Lilith. I'm also known as Claire Ridgewood for writing purposes. You can find me on Blue Sky under the name Claire Ridgewood and on Instagram under the Lillith Wild. You will find me here every other Friday as well. And I am hoping to be in other actual plays, but right now it's mostly one-shots and we don't have set dates. So hopefully I'll see you there, but we'll see. Thank you so much.
And our other player had to drop, I think, because they not only have 4 dogs, but also a 6-year-old child. That is a whole bunch of demand there itself. Hello, people of the internet. I am Aadi MK. You can find me on Blue Sky, though I don't have anything there as an elder millennial. You can find me on Instagram at Noonlight Creations, and I also DM my own homebrew D&D game called The Tides of Atlantis, which I stream on Noonlight Creations at Twitch. And this has been an interesting potential. There's so much promise in this group, and I look forward to tapping that potential with all of you. And thank you for joining us, all the viewers who have been with us. We'll see you in next game. But until then, much love and stay safe. Bye.